Against the odds, Harlowe's blue skill tree can get the platinum time against Subjugator and Thol the Invincible in Borderlands 4. This setup right here is actually pretty crazy. This is using Harlowe's new class mod here and spamming our action skill while using the convergence shotgun with infinite ammo from pieces from the green skill tree can easily get us this. And the best part about this is we have a ton of sustain using a few different skills that I'll be showing you in this video. It's actually quite absurd what a good class mod can do for a skill tree, and you see it right here. Now, the trick to this is using Groundbreaker alongside slams, because we do have a skill and the capstone for this that'll give us a ton of extra damage. And I was able to get the platinum time here, even with this annoying invincibility that Subjugator gets right as soon as you're about to go to the next phase of the boss. So yeah, it's possible to get the platinum and get the new firmwares because those are available in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6. Now, Harlowe's blue skill tree is normally not that great, but with Cold Plunge here, we can do a slam, which is going to give us a bunch of extra damage, which we can use and get Groundbreaker on. The new class mod, Plasmaphile here, actually does some pretty crazy stuff because against enemies that are immune to stasis, the damage is increased by the action's skill cooldown rate. So we can scale the damage up pretty crazy. You do want to have the Skillcraft firmware here to further maximize the damage, and using a shotgun like the Convergence and actually having two of them here and mixing in critical funding allows us to fire this infinitely. So we get some of the best parts from the green skill tree, bonus radiation damage to scale damage up even further. And this build is insane for mobbing, but for bosses, you can get the platinum time, which I gave myself blisters today from playing this, trying to figure it out. So I'll break down all the leveling to make it easy to understand why this build is so powerful. Now with this class mod, Pulse Drive here is actually going to give ourselves extra damage against the bosses here, which is amazing, but Make Extraordinary gains gives us critical hit chance with all skills. This chance will increase every time that we entangle an enemy. When we're fighting Thol, there's a lot of enemies there, and with the Convergence with Jacob, you can actually hit a lot of targets. And with the Strange Attractor, if we critically hit an enemy, that enemy becomes entangled. So this all actually has some synergy together from experimenting, and you saw it there, platinum time. Pulse Drive will be the next choice that we go with, and then 2 Coolant for Schoolant. I do like the precision engineering here, but we're spreading ourselves thin, and this is going to give us even further action skill cooldown rate when we deal cryo damage. So cryo weapons are going to be ideal, Flash Cyclone, a Frozen Convergence. And this takes us down to the middle here where all cryo damage deals life, it gives us life steal basically. And when we have full health, we'll get overshield instead. What's amazing about that is that means that we can then, it's 20% overshield steal. If you're using a Watch for Dinner with a amp, you can boost up your damage quite a bit from that. And we'll also take Unstable Isotope as a kill skill. This is actually available in her Phlebotomist class mod, which I really enjoyed because 35% bonus cryo damage is great. This also impacts our skill here. So this combines together very well. Now the blue skill tree has a lot of useless skills here, unfortunately. Whenever we freeze an enemy, gain increased action skill cooldown rate. This could be really nice for the 50% extra damage boost, but we want to put some more points into our other skills. So for our capstone, Cold Plunge here, whenever we slam an enemy, you want to get into a habit of slamming. You might not do that often, but we create a singularity. That's cool, but it's the cryo explosion here. So that gives us an extra bit of damage here, and it's going to help us activate Groundbreaker where we're getting a lot of damage. Now, we're also going to grab Triple Point. This is actually a pretty powerful skill that you probably didn't know exists because no one really uses the blue skill tree, but whenever Harlowe deals non-cryo damage to an entangled enemy, she deals bonus cryo damage to that enemy. If she deals cryo damage, she deals increased bonus damage. So it's 15% cryo on regular old damage. Again, that is going to give us some life steal, and once we get kills going, we get further increased bonus cryo damage. But also, if we're using cryo damage, we get a further increase to that too. It fuels itself really well here. This is where we're going to add into the green skill tree here with things like momentum. When we entangle an enemy, we get increased critical hit damage. It's just the rest of these here are not like super impactful. So we're going to roll with momentum. We don't have really any issue with status effects. Neutron decay here. So this, whenever we irradiate an enemy, we get increased gun damage. This effect will stack up to 50% extra gun damage, which turns into 25% action skill damage with a specialization. We're then going to take 3 points into Resonant Cascade. Whenever we deal that, we get increased action skill damage. This can stack. And Confirmative Reality. Now, typically I only use 2 points Confirmative Reality. This is the odd case where we're spamming our action skill. We're going to throw 3 points into this just so that we can get that action skill cooldown rate and basically spam our skill a lot faster. After this, we're going to then go with Harlowe Certainty Principle. This is going to give ourselves even further gun handling. This is more so for the flux generator, which obviously this is not, but gamma ray burst can be another option too, because we're going to re-trigger our action skill often. This will drain our shields though, and we are activating our action skill so often. This could be considerable. I'm still testing it around, but I found that sticking with this here because gun handling does help. We're using a shotgun and we're using against a flying enemy. We need every little bit of help that we can possibly get to hit the boss. Then taking critical funding. Whenever we critically hit an enemy, we get a chance to entangle it and refill a portion of our gun magazine. This is where it all comes together, because with this, we can spam the convergence, which is a multi-hit weapon, and it gives us infinite ammo, which is perfect because otherwise the blue skill tree is pretty buns. We're then putting our last few points into meltdown here. So guns will deal a bonus radiation damage. So that's 40% of damage dealt as bonus radiation damage. Again, that's going to help out with neutron decay here. We also want to have a grenade that's going to have us radiation damage just to make this a little bit easier. And we're also going to put a point of excited state here, giving ourselves increased critical hit damage. Whenever an enemy is damaged by the action skill, this will also give it an automatic critical hit. The cool thing about this is when the level cap increases, then we can take our distributive function and some of our other skills here. So I actually expect this build to scale very well in the fall. And we're going to take refraction. This is not like super amazing, but we get a ricochet chance against entangled enemies. Everything's going to be entangled basically. Critical hits will double this chance and the ricochets will give reduced damage, but everything that we want is trying to hit entangled enemies as much as possible. And as you guys saw there, we have infinite ammo, infinite damage it seems. It can't, from my testing, you probably, if you really min-maxed, because I didn't fully min-max this build, you could probably get close to the platinum time, but in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, no problem. It's actually very consistent. And because we're getting a lot of life steal and overshield steal, this is fairly tanky. And again, it's great for mobbing. And as you can see here, I actually kind of screwed up. I meant to have another 10% gun damage and an extra 5% action skill damage from our specialization. So that would have gave us an even quicker clear time. So it can be min-max better. I just was silly and put 2 skill craft on the wrong things. But the class mod here, Plasmaphile, this is actually really good. Whenever we use stasis, we get bonus cryo damage to enemies and additional bonus radiation damage to enemies immune to stasis, which is Subjugator and Thol. So we're getting bonus radiation area damage. It's actually pretty considerable. As you can see, the health bars get chipped away. And this damage is increased by action skill cooldown rate, which the blue skill tree has plenty of. You also want to try and find the skill damage, and this comes stock with action skill cooldown rate, which is going to further boost up the damage by 29%. So that is quite nice. Now this can come with 4 different skills rolled. We're looking for the most amount of skill damage possible on this, so I like to get the practical applications. 5 points will give us 35% extra skill damage, which is a considerable amount. Like, skill damage is going to further boost this up, and it gets to pretty silly amounts. I have 2 points into 2 coolant for schoolant. Whenever Harlowe deals cryo damage, increase action skill cooldown rate. You could have more points into this. Those would be like the 2 best skills for this particular setup. I was actually really lucky, and I was actually getting a lot of them with this particular roll. So yeah, your mileage may vary. This actually utilizes the watch for dinner well, since we're getting life steal on our cryo damage and we're dealing bonus cryo damage. So it can come together and work very well. You could also use a Cinder Shelly here for the extra defense, but I don't think it really needs it. This is one of the builds that actually utilizes Watch for Dinner pretty well, because we're taking that 25% bonus shock damage and it just helps us with deleting enemies. You could grab a Fireworks here, and a cryo one would be best if you're going for general mobbing, as this will just delete everything before you can even get close to it. But this would be the best possible roll. Now for our enhancement, I really like Jacob's ones because we're going to be using Jacob's license accessories. I was also experimenting with Crow's Source and the Flash Cyclone, which this does actually benefit quite a bit. However, I do think a Ripper part, if you can get a good Ripper enhancement, enhancements are really annoying to farm. Ripper can increase your fire rate, which would definitely boost the amount of damage that we're dealing and give ourselves our action skill back even quicker, although you don't really have to worry about that. Gun fire rate and gun damage are good rolls to have on this as well, and they increase ricochets because we're trying to hit as many enemies as possible. Now for our Ordnance, now I really like the Bismuth Tip Dagger as well. If you can get a cryo one, you can just go full cryo on them. They take 15% more damage for every attached dagger, and this is a drop from the Story Pack 1 DLC, but everything else you can do without, because this is a free item, so this is really a crazy build. But you could also go with a radiation dip dagger and go full in on your radiation damage. These two are great. I was using a waterfall. Typically you want to save your grenades so you can throw 2 of them at a time and then try to get the groundbreaker damage. This is with an artillery payload. We're just trying to shoot as many bullets off as possible, but I do think that the Bismuth Tip Dagger, I was just tired of swapping firmware around. This would be a really solid roll. Now for our Repkit, I actually like the war paint for the increased fire rate here. Since we have so much sustain, we're really using this just for the bonuses that come from it. So 30% fire rate and movement speed for 15 seconds is really nice. I just don't have a perfect roll for the war paint. Lower cooldown would be best. But since we don't have that, you can also roll with the AF 1000 because this gives ourselves cooldown reduction and action skill cooldown rate plus 100%. So as mentioned, this scales off of action skill cooldown rate. It's the best in slot, but you can get by without it. It's just something you're going to want to use because it lasts for a very long time. The only thing is you can only use this basically once every 20 seconds because it lasts for 20 seconds. So your sustain from this isn't great. However, that doesn't matter when we have so much lifesteal. Now for firmwares, Skillcraft gives ourselves increased skill damage, skill critical hit chance, and it can scale up to 50% extra skill damage. Because we're spamming our skill non-stop, you're going to max this out really easily. 2 high caliber would be even better because that would give ourselves even more gun damage, so 10% more gun damage and 5% more action skill damage, which obviously would have turned the tides a little bit more. So you can do this, you can min-max this even further. The weapons of choice, 2 are only really needed, especially for Subjugator and Thol. You want to have a fire version of convergence. And I have a frost one here, but much lower damage than that. But with the cryo version of this, this is obviously something that we're going to be using for most of the fight until we get to Big Man Thol. Then you take out the convergence with the fire. Flash Cyclone is also another really powerful weapon, especially that Ripper Jacobs. So crazy on this. Crow Source with Cryo Override can also be a good choice, although it doesn't really work as well on this setup. You can also work with a complex root if you got the Ripper Jacobs part on it, and a cryo version of that, of course. If you got a hungry, dripping stray, I have a cryo stray here. This is a really fun weapon for mobbing because you can literally go hang out with your friends and just hold down the mouse button and literally get a bunch of damage off. So that works. The new Juliet Sparkle, especially if you get a cryo radiation, can work very well. I just don't have the shotgun roll on this. They're a dime a dozen, a lot of farming, but finding the perfect roll is really hard for Pearlescence. If you can get a Dark Beast with a Cryo Swapper, that would be a good choice as well. I just have the shotgun one here, which is good too, but doesn't beat the Convergence. The Jailbroken Gatling, the Falker, these are all really good weapons. Like the Falker is actually pretty fun if you can get the Ripper Jacobs going on it. And a Mantra with the Jacobs Ripper, just really good. I also have a Cryo and Radiation one. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game, but these two are really the most essential, and you can even get by with the Constable, but we are trying our best to get Groundbreaker. So skill and gun and ordnance damage gets stored, and then we melee attack or slam if it deals bonus kinetic damage based on the stored damage and consumes it. This has a 5-second duration, so you're trying to slam as often as possible. I would say every 10 seconds, because Cold Plunge will also get us extra damage whenever we slam. So this all comes together very nicely. Alongside I Am a Gun, we're trying to boost up our skill damage because we're spamming it, and Honed Mind for the critical hit chance. And then I Am a Gun, or riddle you this because they'll take I Am a Gun and add 25% of it to our action skill. But you could also get by with Contamination if you wanted to. I just think riddle you this works very well. So the way we want to do this is pop our Repkit here, and we're just going to get in close and try to spam this as much as possible. As you can see, it does actually insane damage here. Shoot the eye of those to get the damage to go and make them to stop healing them. But what we're trying to do is get in and whack them like that. So you can see there, Groundbreaker plus this, it is insane the amount of damage that we can do. Ideal roll, or the ideal thing to do would to actually be to go in and slam. So we're just basically trying to get this damage going as much as possible, and then you can go boom, take him out just like that. It is insane how powerful this can be. This is something I was experimenting with for a while here, and yeah, it is actually pretty insane. So whenever this situation comes out, we're gonna then pull out our fire version of it. This is the only part where things do get a little bit frustrating because you do have to hit the flying dude here. So that's why I was mentioning the extra gun handling does help quite a bit. Of course he does this. We don't want to take out Thol, so I'm just gonna, I don't like going against Subjugator because we are basically full cryo. We're not gonna take down Subjugator. That's the only annoying thing about them making bosses that resist and eat elements, is that you can't really deal with them at the, like, you know, the peak of this. So there we go. That was really fast. We still have 550 on the clock. Wait for Subjugator or Thol to do his thing. And the flow to this, we want to throw our grenades out 2 at a time. This is just going to save us as much time as possible. And you're just basically going to start shooting. And you can see we get our action skill back so fast from Confirmative Reality. Go in and slam. You get that huge boost to the damage. And then we're going to do that every like 10 seconds or so. So yeah, you do need to spam the action skill. You get up right in his face. That was a little bit too early. I didn't get enough of the triggers off yet. So yeah, you spam your action skill so much in this. We got our 2 grenades back, so we throw our 2 grenades. He did jump, and try to get the slam off. I didn't properly slam. So you want to slam, but we got him at half health already. This part is really annoying in Ultimate Vault Hunter 7 just because he's got an insane amount of health, but you can reliably get the platinum time here, which is crazy, and slam. So there we go, even further health going down. You can also use the skill on the others there, but we're going to be getting a lot of... Oh, I meleeed him instead. Yeah, it's kind of a mindless section here where you're just blasting away at him like this, but the damage is insane and you can take him out really easily here. So go in for the slam again and then just go for your normal attacks, and boom, we got ourselves that platinum rank. Go inside Thol and you win. So yeah, this is really fun. It requires you to be like really active with playing, but it's honestly quite tanky, and it's not as like, it's very clear to get you the Ultimate Vault Hunter 6-time platinum really easily because of all the life sustain that you get. This one is really fun. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if this video is useful, and we'll catch you in the next one.